Inside your brain exists a quiet biological counter that you rarely ever notice. Most people believe hunger simply means the body is running low on energy. When the stomach growls, they reach for bread, snacks, pasta, or sugary foods. An hour later, hunger returns, and confusion and frustration quickly follow again. This is not weak discipline or personal failure, it is biological miscalculation. The human brain does not mainly count calories like nutrition labels suggest. Instead, it monitors nitrogen intake and essential amino acids needed for survival. This internal system evolved long before farming supermarkets or modern food industries. It follows an ancient survival rule shared by animals, including humans today. There's a scientific concept known as the protein leverage hypothesis. This theory suggests animals continue eating until protein requirements are satisfied. When meals are low in protein, the brain demands more total food intake. People then overconsume carbohydrates, fats, and calories, searching for missing amino acids. You are not craving food itself. You are craving specific protein signals. Modern diets often fail because calorie reduction removes protein unintentionally first. The brain interprets this as starvation and sharply increases hunger intensity. No amount of willpower can silence a biological survival alarm once triggered. To change the outcome, we must change the biological input deliberately first. Protein behaves differently inside the body compared with fats and carbohydrates. Digesting fat requires minimal effort, making it efficient long-term storage fuel. Carbohydrates require more work but remain energetically efficient for the body. Protein digestion is complex, requiring heat, energy, and multiple chemical processes. Breaking protein bonds consumes a significant portion of meal calories during digestion. Up to 30% of protein energy is lost naturally as heat. This creates a metabolic cost that supports fat loss without exercise. Eating protein effectively turns digestion into gentle internal metabolic work. Yet, metabolism alone does not fully explain protein appetite control power. The deeper mechanism lies in ancient brain hunger circuits built for survival. For most of history, protein was scarce and extremely valuable for survival. Hunger pushed humans to keep searching until protein needs were fulfilled. Today, processed foods deliver abundant energy, but very little protein content. A bag of snacks provides calories without satisfying protein needs sufficiently. The brain, therefore, keeps the hunger signal active, demanding more intake. High-protein foods trigger fullness, rapidly limiting calorie intake naturally. Once protein thresholds are reached, appetite declines without counting numbers. Hormones released during protein digestion stabilize blood sugar for many hours. This prevents energy crashes that often lead to later cravings. Many adults eat little protein at breakfast, creating repeated hunger cycles. Protein cannot be stored for later use, like fat inside the body. Each meal must independently reach a protein signal threshold to satisfy appetite. Roughly 30 grams of quality protein reliably activates satiety signals. Eating protein earlier in the day improves appetite control later. Starting meals with protein stimulates fullness hormones before carbohydrates are eaten. This sequencing gently reduces carbohydrate intake without restriction or stress. Regular protein intake protects muscle, which maintains metabolic rate with aging. Muscle tissue plays a major role in burning daily energy efficiently. Losing muscle slows metabolism and promotes fat regain with age. Adequate protein acts as insurance against metabolic decline later in life. You are not lacking discipline. Your biology simply needs proper signals. When protein needs are met, hunger quiets and balance returns naturally. This approach does not require extreme dieting, fasting, suffering, or obsessive calorie counting. It works by cooperating with human biology instead of constantly fighting against it. Protein sends clear messages to the brain that nutritional needs are fully satisfied. When the brain receives a signal, it reduces hunger automatically and safely. This creates a natural calorie reduction without conscious effort or strict restriction. Another important effect involves hormones that regulate energy storage and energy release. Carbohydrate-heavy meals spike insulin, which strongly encourages fat storage. Protein also raises insulin slightly, but activates a balancing hormone called glucagon. Glucagon releases stored energy, keeping fat-burning pathways open after meals. This balance prevents blood sugar crashes that trigger fatigue and sudden cravings. Stable energy levels support better focus, movement, and emotional mood throughout the day. Many people mistake energy crashes for hunger and eat unnecessarily again. Protein-centered meals help break this confusing cycle naturally over time. The timing of protein intake is just as important as the total amount. Eating most protein late at night misses its appetite control benefits. Morning protein sets metabolic signals that influence hunger for many hours. A protein-rich breakfast reduces evening snacking and sweet cravings significantly. This effect has been observed repeatedly in controlled nutrition research studies. The body responds better when protein is evenly distributed across daily meals. Large single servings cannot compensate for protein missed earlier in the day. Each meal functions like a separate opportunity to send fullness signals. If a meal lacks protein, hunger remains active regardless of calories consumed. This explains why large carbohydrate meals fail to produce lasting satiety. Protein intake supports muscle repair, which becomes increasingly important with age. Preserving muscle helps maintain strength, balance, mobility, and long-term independence. Aging adults naturally lose muscle. Without adequate protein and resistance activity, this loss lowers metabolism, making fat gain easier even with less eating. Protein slows this process and supports healthier aging outcomes overall. Kidney concerns are often raised regarding higher protein intake in adults. In healthy individuals, research shows no harm from adequate protein consumption. The kidneys adapt efficiently, filtering protein byproducts without damage when healthy. Medical restrictions apply only to diagnosed kidney disease under physician care. For most adults, protein supports health rather than causing physical decline. Understanding hunger biology removes guilt, shame, and frustration around eating. Appetite is a signal problem, not a personal character flaw. Feeding the body what it truly needs quiets the demand for excess energy. When protein needs are met, cravings naturally lose their intensity. This approach encourages calm control instead of constant food anxiety. Small, consistent changes create long-term, sustainable metabolic improvements. No extreme rules, no forbidden foods, no punishment mindset required. Simply prioritize protein at each meal with intention and awareness. Choose foods where protein outweighs excess sugars and refined starches. Whole foods make this balance easier than heavily processed options. The goal is nourishment, not deprivation or rigid dietary identity. Over time, appetite learns new patterns guided by biology. Hunger becomes quieter, meals become simpler, and energy stabilizes naturally. Weight management becomes a side effect rather than a constant struggle. The body responds predictably when given correct nutritional signals. Protein acts as a master lever influencing hunger, metabolism, and aging. Understanding this lever restores confidence, trust, and control over eating. This understanding helps people eat calmly with confidence instead of constant doubt. Food choices feel simpler when guided by clear biological knowledge and sound logic. There is no need to follow complex diet trends or confusing nutrition systems. The body already contains instructions developed over thousands of years of survival. Protein acts as one of the strongest signals within that internal instruction system. Respecting the signal allows balance to return without forced restriction or struggle. Hunger becomes useful information rather than an enemy requiring constant resistance effort. Meals feel calmer, slower, and more satisfying as the body receives proper signals. This method supports long-term health instead of chasing short-term results. Such an approach becomes increasingly valuable during later stages of adult life. Aging bodies benefit from stable energy strength and predictable daily nourishment patterns. Protein supports tissue repair, immune defenses, and recovery from everyday physical stress. Adequate protein intake helps preserve independence, mobility, and physical capability longer term. Eating well becomes an act of care rather than control or constant self-discipline. This mindset reduces emotional stress and anxiety surrounding everyday food decisions. Many older adults eat smaller meals, yet still experience frequent hunger signals. This usually reflects low protein density rather than true energy deficiency states. Improving protein quality often resolves hunger without increasing total food volume intake. Smaller meals can feel deeply satisfying when protein content is properly prioritized. Satisfaction plays a greater role than portion size in long-term eating success. Consistency over time matters more than perfection or rigid dietary adherence rules. Simple habits practiced daily outperform extreme changes maintained only briefly over time. A protein-focused pattern fits easily within many cultural food traditions worldwide. This approach adapts to personal preferences without strict exclusion or deprivation rules. Flexibility encourages long-term adherence and reduces burnout around healthy eating habits. Over time, the body relearns normal hunger and fullness communication patterns naturally. Trust gradually replaces fear and confusion around daily food-related choices. The relationship with food becomes calm, neutral, and supportive rather than emotional. Health improvements occur quietly, without constant tracking, monitoring, or obsession with numbers. This reflects how human biology prefers to function when properly supported nutritionally. Understanding hunger biology removes blame and replaces it with practical clarity and confidence. The body was never broken, only misunderstood through decades of misleading advice. Correct nutritional input produces calm, predictable responses from internal systems over time. Protein provides that input, reliably supporting appetite, control meal after meal consistently. This creates steady energy levels and reduces unnecessary eating urges throughout the day. Fat loss, when needed, becomes a secondary effect, not the primary focus. Health, strength, and stability replace appearance as the central long-term goals. This perspective aligns better with aging bodies and lifelong well-being and function. Aging with vitality requires cooperation with biology rather than constant resistance. Protein serves as a foundational tool in that cooperative biological process daily. Eating becomes simpler when guided by a few fundamental principles consistently applied. Conflicting nutrition noise fades, leaving clarity, confidence, and calm forward direction. Daily decisions require less effort, as hunger signals remain quiet and stable. Food returns to its supportive role rather than dominating daily thought patterns. This restores a peaceful relationship with eating over time and overall health. The body intelligence developed across evolution is finally respected and trusted again. Meeting real needs removes excess desire without force, deprivation, or stress. Imbalance returns naturally when biological signals are consistently satisfied through nutrition. This is how sustainable health quietly builds meal by meal over time, and well-being improves steadily as the body receives what it truly needs.